Right now at 10, over the weekend, Wisconsin veterans visited the nation's capital. We'll tell you the former commander-in-chief who greeted them as they landed.
And the Department of Public Instruction releases its report cards, how schools in our area are performing.
Plus, the state is seeking billions in federal aid, how health officials are working to improve rural care. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson.
And I'm Eric Franke.
We'll begin tonight with Veterans Day, a time to honor and appreciate those who served in our military.
And over the weekend, a group of Wisconsin veterans received the ultimate thank you. Maddie Heimsch shares their story.
It was the greatest day of our lives.
When father and son Marlon Hensler Jr. and Marlon Hensler III set off to Washington, D.C. on a Badger Honor flight on Saturday,
I imagined it being one of the best days that I've ever had.
They expected the stories, the monuments, and even the thank yous.
I have never seen so many people in my entire life welcome us home.
Hensler II served as an air traffic controller in the Marine Corps from 1959 to 1964.
They made me the man I am.
But even he couldn't have anticipated how their flight would end.
Hello, everybody. What?
They said somebody's going to come on and say something to you, and I don't need to introduce them.
Thank you for your extraordinary service.
But I got off the plane, and there was this nice, tall gentleman, and he said, "Welcome, Marlon." And I looked at him, and it was the ex-president of the United States, Mr. Obama.
Former President Barack Obama greeted 87 Wisconsin veterans and their loved ones at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport, handing each service member a presidential challenge coin.
Like the ex-president of the United States actually saying thank you. Isn't that great?
A memento Hensler says he'll keep forever.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me and my dad, and it's something we're going to remember forever.
And a moment he says he'd serve his country all over again to experience.
You give a little bit for your country, you'll be surprised the country gives a little bit to you.
Reporting in Madison, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
What an unforgettable moment. Maddie, thank you. Badger Honor flights serve any and all veterans who served from 1941 to 1975. Now, if you have a loved one who'd like to go on a flight, you can find the applications on their website. It is badgerhonorflight.org.
Well, it felt more like fall today, but pretty windy, I'm trying to say. But Alex, when are we getting the warm stuff?
Warm stuff, just gotta wait till tomorrow, Sarah, in southern Wisconsin. That warm stuff, 50. Back up the temperatures a little bit above normal by the time we get to Wednesday. 54 on Thursday, 59 on Friday, 62 on Saturday. Then the temperatures will take a tumble as we go a little bit later into the 10-day period. But let's focus on the good stuff, the warm stuff that's on the way to southern Wisconsin right now. Mild tonight compared to last night where we got into the lower 20s. Mid-30s tonight, clear skies, and I'm hinting at that very, very apparently clear skies. Talk more about that later. Breezy, and we'll stay breezy as we go into Wednesday. That's maybe the only fly in the ointment, the only little bit that's going to cool things down just a little bit, at least feeling-wise, on Wednesday. But we got that sun out there. 50, Baraboo, Madison, Janesville 52, 53 to 54 to the south and towards the west. Warmer weather is on the way to southern Wisconsin. But when are we going to get rid of these breezes? And will we have any precipitation after those highs in the 60s come Saturday? And then a special treat at the very end of our newscast. That's all coming up.
And we're happy to report tonight that a child is okay after being hit by a school bus in Oregon. Officers were called to the intersection of South Perry Parkway and Union Road yesterday afternoon. Now, according to investigators, the child was crossing the street when the bus turned into them. That child was treated at the scene by first responders and reunited with a parent. The bus driver is now cited for failure to yield right of way at an uncontrolled intersection.
Governor Tony Evers says federal aid to rural schools is being delayed. The first round of impact aid payments were supposed to arrive in October, but have yet to be paid out. The funds from the Department of Education would help rural districts cover payroll and costs for transportation programs, and new positions. And now Governor Evers is demanding the Secretary of Education release the payments. The state is supposed to receive over $23 million in impact aid this year, much of which would support schools operated by federally recognized tribal nations. Well, your student is probably expecting their report card soon, but did you know the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction releases report cards for schools and districts as well?
Our Maren Rosen joins us now to break down the process and results of those report cards released today.
Well, Sarah and Eric, since DPI launched their annual report cards, this is the first year they used a new scoring system. A panel of 32 people representing a variety of educational sectors met this summer to discuss and develop their recommendations. The recommendations were then submitted to the state superintendent for review. Schools and districts are evaluated across 4 priority areas: achievement, growth, target group outcomes, and attendance and graduation rates. Based off data received in these 4 areas, each school and district get an overall score and star rating, falling between fails to meet expectations and significantly exceeds expectations. Of Wisconsin's 378 public school districts, 355 met or exceeded expectations, with 29 of those significantly exceeding expectations. Among 1,920 individual public schools, 1,625 met or exceeded expectations. No schools or districts received 0 stars in their evaluations. Looking at some school districts in our area, Middleton received a 5-star ranking and the Verona Area District received 4 stars. They are followed by the Madison Metropolitan School District and Janesville with 3 stars. Beloit is ranked at 2 stars, meeting few expectations set by the DPI. In a press briefing earlier this morning, DPI announced a plan to better school performances statewide. The plan focuses on 4 key areas, including educator recruitment and retention, innovative education, mental health resources for students, and modernizing the DPI.
All right, thank you, Maren. And to check your student's school or district report card, you can head to dpi.wi.gov.
Wisconsin asking the federal government for $1 billion to improve rural health care. That funding part of the federal rural health transformation program. Now that $50 billion fund, it was created to address cuts to Medicaid due to President Trump's budget bill signed into law this summer.
Those cuts were large and devastating. At the same time, in the same bill, they added this money in to say, let's improve the structures, let's make things more efficient.
DHS planning on recruiting a team solely to manage this project. However, it won't find out if it receives the money requested until the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid announce awardee decisions at the end of the year.
An outbreak of infant botulism linked to baby formula appears to be growing right now. Federal and state health officials are reporting at least 15 babies in 12 states have been sickened since August. Organic formula maker ByHeart is now recalling all batches of its whole nutrition infant formula. Cans and anywhere packed symptoms of infant botulism include poor feeding, loss of head control, and difficulty swallowing.
A good thing is that they've recalled all the product. And so the downside is that the incubation period can be up to 7 weeks. And so kids that consumed the product a week ago may not show signs or symptoms for another month and a half.
No deaths have been reported, and ByHeart, the company, says anyone with the formula in their homes should stop use immediately and throw it out.
Well, this week, Canada lost its measles elimination status. The U.S. has yet to lose that, but the cases here are rising. Canada has reported more than 5,000 measles cases this year. As of November 4th, the CDC says there have been 1,681 cases in the U.S., and of those, 92% were unvaccinated or had an unknown vaccination status.
It's very concerning that we are seeing this illness to be on the rise, especially when we know that there are very simple steps that can be done to prevent it.
Now, the vaccine is typically given to children between 12 and 15 months of age, with a second dose given at 4 to 6 years of age. The CDC says older kids, teens, and adults who don't have any evidence of measles immunity also need 1 or 2 doses of the vaccine given at least 28 days apart.
A new bill in the state legislature would help Wisconsinites with their utility payments right now. According to the U.S. Census, roughly a quarter of Americans could not pay their utility bills last year. So this new proposal would make it so no one's utility bills account would be for more than 2% of their monthly income. Had to be less than that. Citizen Action of Wisconsin says this is especially urgent with talk and plans of AI data centers threatening to raise rates for residents.
You need to build out the grid to these areas that have huge energy amounts. That's going to be on the ratepayers. That's what the Unit of Concerned Scientists research shows. But they're doing this in a way that's going to leave ratepayers holding the bag, and the bag is already too heavy for them now.
This winter is also a concern because the Trump administration has seemingly begun dismantling the low-income Home Energy Assistance Program. Now, that program heavily funds Wisconsin's Home Energy Assistance Program as well.
Private sector hiring has declined in recent weeks, suggesting a continued slowdown in the labor market. Payroll provider ADP says an average of 11,250 jobs were lost last week over the 4-week period ending October 25th. Now, compare that to a gain of 14,250 jobs per week in the previous cycle. The data comes amid an absence of jobs numbers from the federal government during the shutdown. And still ahead at 10, the FAA continues to reduce flights at our nation's largest airports.
And the House of Representatives will be back in session tomorrow. But Democrats in the chamber are pushing back against the Senate's recent funding package. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back, everyone. The House Rules Committee kicked off a lengthy meeting ahead of tomorrow's floor vote.
Yeah, representatives are set to vote on the funding package to reopen the government. It'll also mark the first day the House is back in session in nearly 2 months. But House Democrats have slammed the measure as it does not include that extension of Affordable Care Act tax credits.
And Democrats will continue to press the case to say to our Republican colleagues, you have another opportunity to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits.
Meanwhile, SNAP benefits for many states remain in flux until the government reopens.
Starting today, 6% of flights will be cut at dozens of major airports across the country. This is part of the FAA's emergency order as the government shutdown continues. The cuts will impact flight capacity at 40 major U.S. airports. Officially, it's just a 2% increase, but Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says that percentage is actually higher.
The issue here is you saw more delays over the weekend than 4%. And we thought it's better to manage a reduction in flights, to systematically do it, to plan for it, than to let chaos ensue.
The FAA will continue to incrementally reduce flights throughout the week, reaching 10% by Friday. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy added that air travel will not resume to full capacity immediately, even when the shutdown ends. Well, the chilly weather will soon be in the rearview mirror.
Alex tracking highs in the 60s. Well, Alex, when are those temps going to get here?
They're just right around the corner. By the time we get to Friday, we might even have to inch Friday's high of 59 up to the lower 60s and maybe low to mid 60s. By the time we get to Saturday, yes, it will cool down after this brief warm up, but let's enjoy the good stuff, the good warm air while it lasts here in southern Wisconsin. It's all part of the 3 things you need to know. It will be breezy through Wednesday. That's the bit of the price you pay to get warm temperatures in the spring and in the fall. Those 60s, as we just mentioned, by Saturday, cooler as we head into next week. Those are the 3 biggies in the forecast here. Tonight, mid-30s. That's about a 10-degree improvement from last night. We'll have breezy conditions, clear skies. Again, I'm emphasizing clear skies for a point that we'll talk about at the very end of our newscast. We'll stay mostly sunny on Wednesday with breezy conditions, highs of 50 in Madison, 51 Baraboo, 53 in Lone Rock, and 55 to the west in Prairie du Chien. Hint of things to come for the rest of southern Wisconsin. The mid-50s will make a return by the time we get to Thursday. Also, what we'll get rid of will be the wind. We're going to track Galmet the wind, I guess, here. Mid to upper 30 wind gusts to start off Wednesday morning. So we're definitely going to need that jacket tomorrow morning. It's going to be a breezy start, a breezy end of the day with winds still gusting at times 25, 30 miles per hour across all of southern Wisconsin. But it's the winds that have a tendency to transition us from cold stuff to warm stuff. That's that transition, is those breezy conditions, and eventually we'll see those winds ease on up as we go into Thursday and going on into Friday before they ramp back up again. Now, unfortunately, this graphic here I'm not very happy to show. I would love to show some raindrops in our forecast. We've got just a tiny chance Saturday going into Saturday night, but every time we get closer to that event, it looks like that cold front's going to come through on the dry side. Here's the latest future track projection showing Madison here, just maybe a tiny chance of a sprinkle or a light shower around 2 to late afternoon hours on Saturday as that cold front comes through. It sweeps through with maybe a shower left over. Janesville over towards Elkhorn, Jefferson. Just a tiny chance of getting wet as we go into Saturday evening. And we need the water because we're going to get an update with the drought monitor this Thursday. And I expect that the abnormally dry conditions, that's the yellow shading across much of southern Wisconsin, is probably going to advance further to the north. Unfortunately, the moderate drought and severe drought conditions may also lift to the north because that little bit of snow that we had, while it was nice and put just a tiny bit of moisture into the soil, certainly not enough to make a big dent in the drought monitor. We're going to need some consistent fall rains to make some changes here in our drought monitor. 50 again Wednesday, 54 Thursday, 59 on Friday, 62 on Saturday. That's the warm spot, and that's the warmest in the next 10 days. 45 on Sunday behind that cold front, which will largely come through on the dry side, and then low 40s for much of next week. There is a weather system that weather models right now are pretty consistent at showing. They've been showing this for a few days. It's next Thursday and Friday. Breezy conditions, good chance for rain with that weather system. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can keep that weather system in the forecast, because now that the harvest is ending for a lot of our farmers, now it's time to turn our attention to getting some water back in the water table.
All right, looks great.
Looks great for the next couple days, and then at the very end of the newscast, we got something special to show.
Oh, can't wait. Thanks, Alex.
Alex, thank you. It was another disappointing performance from the Packers last night. Just 7 points in that loss to the Eagles, their second loss in as many weeks.
And with the season halfway over, you have to wonder about Matt LaFleur's game plan. News 3 Now senior Packers writer Jason Wilde caught up with the head coach and has the details.
Matt LaFleur understands how this works. When you've lost 2 consecutive games and you scored only 13 points in one of them and only 7 points in the other, and you're not only the offensive play caller, but you have an offensive background. It's what got you the head coaching job in the first place. You know you're going to face scrutiny when your offense is struggling. Now, does that mean that Matt LaFleur, who has 1 year remaining beyond this season on his contract, is coaching for his job? Matt LaFleur not looking at it that way heading into the final 8 games of the regular season.
I'll leave that for everybody else to decide. I'll just focus on the day-to-day and trying to do. I feel like you're always coaching for everything in this league. You know, that's just my mindset. It's always been that way. You know, you can't ever exhale. You got to always be pushing, and that's just my mindset. So, and that will be my mindset until they tell me not to coach anymore.
I know it doesn't feel this way to Packers fans right now, but if the season ended today, the Packers at 5-3-1 would be the 7th seed in the NFC playoff picture, just as they were the first 2 years with Jordan Love as their starting quarterback. We'll have full coverage of everything Packers on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for our Packers newsletter, which delivers that coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. And next up on the Packers schedule, the New York Giants. The Green and Gold heads to MetLife Stadium for the game this Sunday, and kickoff is at noon.
Well, Sarah and some of her friends got private lessons today from Badger basketball alum Zach Morley.
He needed to get a serious award for this one. I joined my friends from the Starry and Stars networking group, getting lessons from him and shooting some hoops today. Now, you only catch the one where I'm missing. But I made a few.
I'm sure you made a lot, Sarah.
I wanted to give Zach a huge shout out for his patience. You can tell he was a pro baller and I was a father of 4. We asked for the 5th grade version of how to shoot a basketball, and we had some pros on the court by the end. Not everybody, but you know, we did a pretty good job. No video of me making a shot, but I swear it happened.
Oh no, I don't know if I believe you on that.
And a big thank you. Yeah, and thank you to everyone who showed up. It was a great networking event, and Terry from Starry on Bank is a shout out to.
Awesome. All right.
Don't wait. We keep missing.
We got any video of you making any shots?
No.
Andrew, all you, man.
Well, it's still becoming sports. Unfortunately, we've already seen the best basketball highlights that we'll see today, but we've still got some more. Wisconsin basketball hosting Ball State. See if Bucky can get off to a 3-0 start. Next on News 3 Now. Wisconsin men's basketball is starting to find their groove. The Badger men are off to a 2-0 start, looking for that third dub tonight at the Kohl Center, hosting Ball State. And as the weather gets cold, Nolan Winter, he gets hot. The big man was on a mission tonight. As they say, it wouldn't be so bad without the wind, and normally they'd be right, but 31 brought out his windbreaker, lines up the three, and it's good. Make it, get this, 29-8 Badgers early. And later, Nick Boyd turns defense into offense, taking the ball right out of the Cardinals' nest. He gets blocked on the other end, but who else but Winter is there to clean it up. Nolan had a game-high 19 points to go with his 10 rebounds as the Badgers win it 86-55. There's a reason that baseball is called America's pastime. It's been played since the 1800s, and in all that time, only 17 Madison natives have made it to Major League Baseball. Drake Baldwin, a Madison West grad, is the most recent and maybe already the best too. After hitting 19 homers in his first year in the show, he got the call that he was named the National League's Rookie of the Year.
It honestly went by pretty quick with how fun it was. I mean, I don't even know if I've wrapped it up completely yet. I mean, I'll probably have to wrap up this award as well, just kind of realize how much it really means. It's still kind of surreal right now, but yeah, it's just an incredible year and was super excited it's ending this way.
It seems like a theme this time of year, thinking, where did all the time go? Believe it or not, Wisconsin volleyball only has a half dozen games left this season. Allie Andrew, the guest on this week's Wisconsin Huddle, says her lone year in Madison has gone by way too fast, but not too fast for her team to gel into a contender for a national championship.
I'm just really impressed with this team, how we've been progressing throughout the season, and just the last couple weeks, how we've been finding our groove together. I think we really strive to play together as a team, and that's something we've been doing, and it's just been really fun to watch and play with.
That's it for sports, but we've still got some really cool northern lights to look at. Alex has that when we come back to News 3 Now.
And Alex rejoins us. Final check of the forecast.
Had to make sure my reel was ready to go, which is around the corner. Yes, tonight, temperatures in the 30s, clear skies, it's cold. This is a perfect night for the viewing of the Northern Lights, and we're getting quite the show. Some of the photos that we're getting in by the dozens are some of the most vivid that I have ever seen. We've had a number of Northern Lights viewings over the course of this past year. We're getting reports that you don't even need to change your phone settings to see some of the vivid colors that we're seeing here in Spring Green. Look at those pinks and those oranges. And if you want to send us your photos, scan that QR code right now so that you're linked up to our First One weather apps. You can send us your photos and then stick with us here for a couple more moments, or I'll show you some of these other ones. The clouds are clearing out here in Mazo. Donna showing, look at the greens, look at the fluorescent greens.
Real.
I know, it just looks unworldly. Beautiful picture from Ridgeway, and also another one here from Cambridge. Thank you so much for sending in these photos, and Blaze too.
Thanks for sharing. The Colbert Show's up next.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.